we expect that these 2 times, okay, inspector 1 should tell the same result. Okay, if like in part 1, the results are not consistent, so that means the repeatability of inspector 1 regarding part number 1, okay, is not good, right? The second part, G and G, consistent, so repeatability is okay for part number 2. Okay, so we will for the inspection system, okay, we have to appraise about first the repeatability of the results, okay, and next we should appraise for the accuracy of the result also. Let me see. For example, part number 6. Sorry, I have to share the screen. Okay, so you can remind me if sometimes I forget to share the screen. You can tell me, okay, right away. Okay, come back. Okay, so today we will learn about how do we appraise the inspection system. Okay, and in the next 2 classes, we will talk about how do we appraise the measurement system in terms of variable data. Okay, in this case, we have the data is attribute because the data come in form of grouping, right? G or a G. But sometimes we have parameter, for example, like dimensions parameter, like width, thickness, those kind of things. The result comes in terms of the numbers, right? So we have to analyze about those numbers to check whether those numbers are correct and have repeatability. Okay, so we will talk about the measurement system analysis for variable data in the next 2 classes. And in this class, we will talk about what we call attribute agreement analysis. It's an analysis to appraise the accuracy of the inspection results and also the precision of the inspection results. Okay. So now I will talk about, okay, 2 performance indicators, 2 main performance indicator. So we would like the result to be consistent. That means precision, good precision or good repeatability. And for example, part number 6, the results, okay, are consistent, right, for inspector 1. But if we check with the actual result, which is good, which is G, we will find that even though the results are consistent or have good repeatability, but it's not correct. Okay, so the accuracy is not good for this part, right? And okay, now we want to appraise, okay, the performance of each inspector, okay, in terms of repeatability and also the accuracy of the results, okay, and the actual results, okay. How do we get the actual result? How do we know that this part is G or NG? How do we know about that? This result should be reliable because we will believe that this result is correct, right? And then we will compare the result from each inspector to the actual one, okay? And if the result from each inspector is different from the actual result or the true value, so we will believe that that inspector is having problem, okay, with his inspection results. Okay, so first we have to know first how do we get the actual result. Okay, can anybody think about this? Okay, let me ask someone about this. Right? Isari, do you have any idea of how do we obtain the true result of each part? If you have no idea about that, you can say you have no idea this time, okay, and then I can pass to other people. That's fine. Huh?
No idea เลยค่ะ
Okay. Is anybody have some ideas about this? Think about this. Okay, if you want to appraise, okay, the quality of each inspector, okay, we will ask them, okay, to inspect that part, okay, and think about this. Part number one, okay, to judge whether the actual result is G or NG, okay. G mean no defects, okay, and NG mean contain defects. But in this case, okay, let me explain about this first, okay. Suppose we have a part like sorry, okay. Suppose we have a part like this, okay, and if there is no defect at all appear on the part, we will say that this part is a good part, okay. Next, if we have another part, okay, it contains, okay, defect which is very thin, okay, like this, and short, okay. Sometimes, okay, some manufacturer agree, okay, with the customer that they both the manufacturer and the customer can accept this defect, okay, if it's very small, okay. So the result should be G, okay, if the customer agree to accept this quality level, okay. But they have to agree or have to write down the definition of defect, okay, which, okay, characteristic that they accept, which is not. For example, they can say that they accept or say that this is a G part, right? When, okay, for example, the scratch is, okay, this scratch length, for example, is less than 3 millimeters, okay, or it's, for example, invisible, okay, at, okay, the distance, like, for example, 1 foot, okay, from the part, okay. So if they look at the part, okay, in the from the distance of 1 foot, and then they cannot detect this defect because it's very thin, okay, it's very short, okay. So they accept this, okay, defect, okay. So we have to write it down like this type of defect is G also, okay. But for example, if the scratch is long, okay, and thick, okay, NG, okay. So the difficulty is that the inspector has to be well trained, right, about the standards to distinguish between good part and bad parts, okay. So they have to well train about, they have to really understand the standards, right. And besides understanding the standards, okay, standard here mean the definition of defects, okay, which type is acceptable, which type is not, okay. So besides they understand very well about the standards, they have to have skills, okay, or the ability to design or to judge about to judge for defect or G part and NG part, right? Okay, sometimes when they understand or have knowledge, they still cannot practice it correctly, okay, because they have to have experience, okay, have to be have to hands-on experience about the inspection, right, before they are able to judge correctly and consistently. Okay, so they have to be well trained also. And for people who are well trained, okay, understand the standard very well and well trained and have a lot of experience in inspection, okay, and we can have that operator, okay, to be the one that we use to tell the actual result. Okay, let me come back to this. Okay, okay, for the actual result, okay, it come from, okay, having an operator, or can be supervisor, or can be anyone who is well trained and will have good practice, okay, have a lot of experience in inspection of this product, okay. And then if he say that this part is a good part, okay, we will believe that this result is an actual result, okay. And if you say it's NG, we're going to believe it also, okay. So the answer of this question is that, okay, we have to have good or reliable person to judge about the quality of this product, okay. And then we will compare the results of each inspectors that we are appraising with this expert, okay. Okay, just a second. Okay, now Isari, do you more okay understand about this? Isari, could you please help like explain again, how do we obtain the actual result?
So like each inspector has to like inspect the part to like find if that part can be accepted or not.
Okay, so you are talking about the inspection result of each inspector, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, but now my question is about the actual results, okay, actual results here, how do we obtain it?
So I think it's like each inspector has to summarize the results and then choose if the result can be accepted or not. Like
Yeah.
from looking at the data table.
Not exactly. Okay. Not exactly. Now we are not. If we're talking about the actual results, okay, we are not talking about each inspector that we are appraising, but we have to talk about an expert. Okay, the actual results mean the result that we trust that is a correct result, right? Whether this part is contains what we call major defect. Okay, major defect mean defect that may be too big, okay, or have severe effect. Okay, so if it contains major defect, we will judge that that part is an NG part or bad part. Okay, but if it contains only minor defects, okay, or no defects, we may say that we will accept that part, and that part is G. Okay, so to judge whether that part really a good part or a bad part. Okay, so we have to trust, okay, the people who give that result, okay, and the people that we trust should be an expert, okay, that have a lot of experience in inspection and well trained, okay, with the standard and well trained with the inspection. Okay, do you get that? So this result come from an expert, okay, but this result come from each inspector that we want to appraise. They may not be an expert, or they may be an expert. We are not sure about that. That's why we are appraising their capability, okay, in terms of the inspection. Okay, do you follow me?
ค่ะ
Uh-huh. Okay. And now, okay, let's now to people think about many. If you take a look at this, okay. So okay. People have set up many indicators to judge about the accuracy and repeatability of the inspection result. Okay, we will learn each one, okay, one by one. Okay, the first one, okay. So if we want to appraise the ability for each inspector, let's say within the inspector, okay, the first performance is about repeatability. Okay, so repeatability, equation number one, we can say this, we can call this indicator as percent appraisal score. Okay, it's equal to the number of match ratings divided by the numbers of inspected parts. Okay, that is easy. Okay, first example. Okay, let me delete this. For inspector number one, okay, they inspect 10 parts, right? Okay, and if we count the number of parts that this inspector give consistent results, okay, it will be, okay, part number one not consistent, so we do not count. Part number two consistent, so we count one. 3 consistent, so 2 parts already. Okay, consistent, no. Consistent. Oh, I'm sorry. So this should be 5, 6, 7, right? So there are 7 parts out of 10 parts that operator 1 give consistent results or have good repeatability. So we would say that percent appraisal score or percent repeatability is 70%. Okay, is that easy? How about number 2, inspector number 2? Okay, you can try to, okay, you'll practice with me, okay, in the workshop today, okay, and then I will give you another homework, okay, for you to practice by yourself again. Okay, so in this workshop, okay, so everybody, could you please open the Excel file, okay? Okay, and this worksheet is to, okay, collect your answer, like, okay, for example, inspector number 1, okay, we have calculated percent repeatability or percent appraisal score like we did before, and it's 70%. Okay, so you can write it down here. Okay, and if you take a look at the acceptance criteria table below, okay, I write down that for indicator number 1, okay, number 1, percent repeatability, number 1 here, okay, if the percentage is great or is at least 90%, you will say that you will, the results, okay, or the decision about repeatability is that the repeatability of inspector 1 is acceptable. Okay. Okay, you can fill in, okay, with me, okay, in your table. Okay, you can practice about this and then you can do your homework, okay, really easily if you have one, okay, you practice with me, okay, in class today. So conclusion here is that for inspector 1, his repeatability is acceptable because the percent repeatability of 70%, I'm sorry, 70% actually is less than 80%, right? So the decision should be unacceptable. Okay, I'm sorry about this. So this should be unacceptable. Okay, do you get that? Okay. Now, okay, let's do this for inspector number 2. If we talk about the repeatability, okay, let me see. Maybe I'll ask for your participation, okay? So each one of you, please be prepared, okay, to do this together, okay, with me. How about Kritika? Great, could you please, and okay, and everybody also, could you please calculate the percent repeatability of the second inspector? Everybody, please calculate the percent repeatability for inspector 2 and 3, okay? And then I will randomize to ask somebody. Okay, so now we have our students here. Okay. Okay, great. Huh? Okay, have you finished? Oh. Great, huh? How have you finished calculating the percent repeatability of inspector number 2?
Yeah.
Yang. Okay, do you want me to show you again how do we do that?
TNT.
Okay, look at the formula. Okay, repeatability means for all the times, okay, in this case 2 times that this inspector do inspection, okay, just 2 times, right? Repeatability means they can repeat the same result, right? For example, for part number 1, okay, inspector number 2 can repeat the same result, right? That is good. This is a good thing. For part number, for example, number 5, the results are not consistent. So that means it's not good, right? They cannot repeat the result, okay? But good inspection is that if they inspect the same part for 2 times, okay, if they are consistent, okay, they should give the same result, okay, is that right? So we want to find out the percentage, okay, of the times that they give the same or the consistent results. Okay, if this number approach 100%, that is very good, right? But if this number is low, for example, less than 80%, okay, we will say that this inspector is having problem with repeatability, or they do not give consistent results. Okay, so to quantify this is very easy. So we're just looking for the number of parts that this operator give the same result. Okay, so let's do this together. Great, right? Great. Sorry, let me
30%นะครับ
huh? I have to share the screen, right? Let me close this. I have problem with the eraser. Okay, just a minute. Let's see. Do you see the okay, I'm not sure that you see what I show on the screen. Okay, now it should be fine. Okay. Okay, great, Ka. Okay, let's do this together for inspector number 2. Okay, looking at inspector number 2. For part number 1, okay, the first row, they give, this inspector gives the same result or not?
same result
Okay, so this is the first part, right? That this inspector gives the same result. How about the second part?
same result
Okay, so now you count 2 parts already, right? How about number 3?
same result
Same, okay. Now you can say same, okay? How about number 5?
different
Again, please, I don't hear you.
they're not the same
Okay, not the same, right? So will you count it?
no
No, okay. How about number 6?
also not the same
Not the same, so count it or not?
เงินครับ
Not count. Okay, do not count it. Okay. Number 7, same, right? So you count again. This is number 5, right? That are consistent. Okay, 6, 7, right? So, great, Kat, could you please tell me if we want to calculate the percentage of the parts that this inspector give consistent results, so what would be that percentage?
70%
That's good. Okay, 70%. So everybody, please write down in the answer sheet. Okay, for inspector number 2, percentage repeatability is also 70%. And let's make conclusion whether we're going to accept this performance or not. Okay. Okay. Indicator 1, okay, belongs to this column, and 70% is less than 80%, right? So we say unacceptable. Okay, so we say unacceptable here. Okay, take a look at the criteria table again. Okay, so in general, okay, if the percentage is at least 90%, okay, we will accept the repeatability of that inspection result. Okay, if it's less than 80%, okay, most industry do not accept it. Okay, if that number is between 80 to 90%, okay, it's somewhat like marginally acceptable. Okay, it depends. But so if it's 85%, you can say marginally acceptable, and then that company actually should decide whether they will really accept it, or sometimes they will use only one criteria for making a judgment. For example, at 90%, if it's 90 or greater than 90%, okay, they will accept. But if it's less than 90%, in some company they may say unacceptable. Okay, but some company, okay, they allow for more, okay, more error, so they will use 80%. For example, less than 80% is not acceptable, but if it's at least 80%, they will accept. Okay, so it depends whether they're going to use 80 or 90%. Okay. How about, okay, now let's move to inspector number 3. Okay, Natkamon, could you please help? Okay, calculate the percent repeatedly for number 3. For inspector 3. It's easier to looking for inconsistent results, right? And then you can subtract from 10. It's easier. Take a look at operator 3. Okay. How many parts that they give inconsistent results?
They give 10 consistent results.
Yes,
out of
very
10.
good. Right. All the parts have consistent result, right? That means percent repeatability is 100%, right? And it's pretty sure that we will accept repeatability of this person, right? Okay, good. And now we will move to the second indicator, which is the percent accuracy of each inspector. So this one is easy also. So now, for example, inspector number 2, okay, there are 7 parts, right, in the red text here, okay, 7 parts that this operator give consistent results, okay. And now if we want to appraise in terms of accuracy, we have to compare those consistent results with the actual results, okay, to see whether the results are correct or not. Okay, for example, part number 1 here, okay, G and G, consistent and also correct, okay, correct. So we write down 1 here. The second part, G, and it's also correct. So this is part number 2, right? That is correct. Number 3, NG, and NG, okay? NG, 4, NG, and NG, okay, 4. And looking at look at part number 5. If the results are not consistent, like G and NG, if you take a look at the correct result, okay, the first time he tells correctly, right? But the second time here, he tells incorrect, okay, result, okay? So for this indicator that we are looking at the number of parts that are correct, okay, compared to the total number of parts. So we have to say that when the results are not consistent within the same part, like this, okay, so we can say that that part cannot be correct, okay, because if it's correct, it has to be consistent first, okay, if we consider this indicator. So that's mean for part number 5, 6, okay, 5, 6, and 10, the results are not consistent, so you cannot count it, okay, as the correct part at all. It's not applicable, okay. So you don't have to take a look at part number 5 and 6. Okay, you can go to part number 7. Okay, consistent, right? G, and it's correct. So this is part number 5 that is correct. G, NG, and NG, and it's correct. Same here, okay. and it's correct. And this part is not consistent, so you do not count for accuracy. Okay, and then you count. There are 7 parts out of 10 parts that the results are consistent and also accurate. So this is your second indicator, which is called percent attribute score, which is the number of match ready and correct. Okay, sorry. Okay, just a second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the second indicator is called percent attribute score, or you can say percent accuracy. So for inspector number 2, it is 70%, right? Okay, now let's practice by yourself again. Okay, everybody. Okay, I'll let you have 1 minute to calculate the accuracy of inspector 3. Okay, everybody, please do this, and then I will randomize one of you to help me answer this. Okay, I think, okay, that should be enough. Okay, Nolapat, could you please help? Okay. How many parts for inspector number 3 that they give consistent result and also correct?
10 เหรอครับ
Not really. Okay, take a look at part number 10. Okay,
อ๋อ
consistent or not?
9
Consistent. Huh?
8 ผ่านครับ
8, right? Okay, 8 part. Okay, so all the parts are consistent and correct except for this one, right? Not part number 10, consistent but not correct. And also this part, right? Consistent but not correct. Okay, and if you take a look at other parts, they are consistent and correct. So 8 out of 10, okay, which is 80%. And then you can write it down, and thus, okay, cell 80%. Okay, and then if you use this criteria, okay, for indicator number 2 here, okay, 80%, okay, actually 80%, okay, is in this box, right, which is marginally acceptable. Okay, so you can say you can accept it, but marginally. Okay, and how about inspector number 2? Okay, Silawat, could you please tell me the conclusion of the percent accuracy of inspector number 2? Okay, 70%. What should you say? You will accept this percent accuracy or not?
It's acceptable, I think.
Okay, be careful about this. The percent accuracy for inspector number 2 is 70%, right? 70%. If you take a look at this, 70% is,
Oh, unacceptable.
yeah, it's less than 80%, right? So it should be unacceptable. Okay, good. Okay, the last one, number 1. Okay, practice on this one more time. How about inspector number 1? What is the percent accuracy? Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to do this. Is that enough? Okay. Shanin, could you please help? Okay. How many parts that are consistent and correct?
For what inspector ล่ะครับ
Inspector number 1, because we have done inspector number 2 and 3. Right now we have only inspector 1 left.
accuracy has 60% ครับ
Yeah, very good. Okay. So part number 2, right? G, and G. This one, not this one, right? Because they're not consistent. This one consistent but not correct, right?
ครับ
Okay. Like this. Okay. 6 out of 10. Okay. And conclusion ค่ะ Shanin.
the accuracy will be unacceptable ครับ
That's good because it's less than 80%, right? Okay, so now we are done about the percent repeatability and percent accuracy for each inspector. Okay, now we will move to, another 3 indicators for each operator. Okay, indicator 3, 4, and 5, okay, which is percent OE, percent FA, and percent miss. Okay, so what does it mean here? What do they mean? Okay, percent OE, okay, actually is the same thing as percent. Actually, it also tells you about the percent accuracy. Okay, but if you take a look at the percent accuracy that we have done before, okay, we are comparing the number of parts which are correct, okay, with the total number of parts that we inspect, right? We talk about the number of parts, okay, but for percent OE, okay, we are talking about the opportunities, okay, that each inspectors tell correct results compared to the total number of opportunities that they can tell the results. Okay, to explain about this. Okay, let me show you, okay, one example. Just a second. Okay, the same data set, but if we take a look at the opportunities, okay, instead of the number of parts, for inspector number 1, okay, he inspects 10 parts, right, 2 times. So they have 20 opportunities to tell the results, right? This is the first opportunity, the second opportunity to tell the result, third, okay, fourth, and then 19 and 20, right? So the number of opportunity, okay, for each operator to tell the result is the total number of parts, right, times the number of sorry, the number of times that they do inspection, right? Number of repeatability, okay, sorry. Okay, let me erase this. I'm having problem with the eraser. If you take a look at the indicator, percent OE as the total the lower side is the number of opportunities for decision, which is the number of part times, the number of times that they do replication. And the upper part is the total correct decision. Okay, now we talk about the accuracy. So total correct decision. So you will take a look at each opportunity. For example, the first opportunity, they tell G, and the correct result is G. So you count it like 1, okay? And the second one, he tells NG, right? But the correct result is G. So it's not correct, okay? So you won't count it, okay? Okay, so you count it here. Do not count it. The third one, G, and correct is G. So you count 2, okay? G and G, okay, you count it. NG and G, so you count it. Okay, do you follow? Okay, NG and NG, count it. Okay, this is NG, so correct. The fifth one, G, this is correct, but this is not correct, okay? So you do not count it. G, okay, do not count. Do you follow me? Okay, G, correct. NG, okay, correct. NG, correct. G, okay, 15 here, and it's not correct here. So out of 20 opportunities, okay, to make decision, he designed correctly 15 times. So the percent OE for this operator is 15 out of 20, okay? And then you make it to percentage. So, okay, it will be 3, okay, right? Which is 75%, okay? So you write it down here for inspector number 1, that the percent OE for this inspector is 75%, okay? And then conclusion, you will take a look at this column for indicator number 3. Use the same criteria, okay, as we've seen before. And 75% is less than 80%. Okay, so you will say that, okay, percent OE or percent accuracy, okay, is unacceptable. Okay. Okay, so now let's practice by yourself, okay, for operator number 2 and 3. Okay, and if you have any question, okay, you can ask me if you do not follow what I was showing to you, okay? Okay, let's take 1 minute to do this by yourself. Inspector number 2 first. Okay, I think it should be enough. Okay, Parit ka? Parit, have you done?
ครับผม
Okay, have you done?
ครับเรียบ
Okay, so how many opportunities that he made correct results?
for inspector too, right?
Yes.
85%.
Okay, 85% come from
17 over 20.
Okay, that's great. Okay, that's correct. So, okay, the 3 times that are not correct is this one, right? G that he tells NG, right? And this one, okay? And also this one, okay? So 3 opportunities that are not correct, okay? 17, other 17s are correct, okay? So exactly it's 85%, okay? And now let's do inspector number 3, okay, everybody. Palika, could you please help? Okay, so what will be the conclusion?
Marginally acceptable ครับ
Okay, good, because it's greater than 80%, right? But less than 90%. Okay, everybody, let's do inspector number 3. Okay, I think should be done. Okay, Silaวัดไปละ นันนภัทรคะ Are you done?
ค่ะ
คะ
is 100% ค่ะ
Are you sure? Not, is that right? Now we are looking for the number of times that are correct. Okay, so how about take a look at this? Is this one correct? The true quality is G, right? Nanapat, let's take a look at this. And this is, he tells NG, right? But the correct one is G. Is this correct? No, right? So you have to count out of 20 opportunity here. You're looking for the one that are not correct, okay? And then you subtract by the total number of opportunities, okay? You can get the percent OE, okay? Nanapat, okay, could you do this with me? If this one correct?
yes ค่ะ
Okay, this one correct, right? How about this one? Okay, so let's try to do this again by yourself. Okay, so
80%
come from
from 16 over 20.
Yeah, good. Okay, 16 over 20. The incorrect one is this one, 1, 2, right? And then, okay, G here, and then the tail NG. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, which are not correct. So the correct one will be 16, right? Which is 80%. Okay, Ka, Nanapat, could you please tell the conclusion?
marginally acceptable ค่ะ
Okay, good, because it's exactly at 80%, okay? At 80% is marginally acceptable. Okay, good. Now, okay, we are done with percent OE, right? Now we'll move to percent FA, okay? Indicator number 4, which has the criteria as this table, okay? And take a look at the definition of FA. FAs mean false alarm. False alarm means, maybe I'll write it down. False alarm mean we alarm. That means alarm mean we tell that part is defective, okay? We judge that part is a defective, which is mean NG, right? But that is false. That is false because the actual quality actually is good, okay? So, or we can say that actually the quality is good, but we design wrongly that is not good, okay? Or we tell that it's bad, actually it's good, okay? So this is a kind of error, right? A kind of error. Okay, I'm having problem with this, not responding. Okay. Okay, so this is an error which is called false alarm, okay? And we do not want it because, okay, let me ask you about this. If false alarm happen, that means when that inspector inspect a part and then he decide that this part is bad, okay? So what will they do, or what will the company do with this situation? When an inspector decide that this part is bad, what will they do? So what will they do if they found, okay, or they believe that that part is bad? What will they do? So Pawit, do you want to tell? Okay, how about Napakon? Napakon, what do you think? Okay, if a company or an inspector found that this part is bad, okay, what will they do? What kind of activity will the company do if they find a bad part?
rework ครับ
Okay, before, okay, that is okay, correct, but before rework, what will they do?
Do you mean the kind of activity for inspector or for the worker?
For the company, okay. For an engineer, maybe an engineer or a supervisor. If an inspector believes that this part is bad, right? But note that in this case, that part is not really bad. That part actually is really good, or it may contain defect which is small, okay? But okay, actually it's good, but an inspector believes that it's bad, okay? Good means that it may contain defects, but that defect is very small. It should be acceptable, but that operator think that that defect is unacceptable, so he judged that that part is bad, okay? So if you are a supervisor and engineer, okay, if okay you find you okay you meet with this situation, so what will you do?
Inspect again.
Yes, okay. So you have to recheck, yeah, reinspect, okay. And if you reinspect, okay, with an expert, right? And then, okay, you will say that, oh, actually, this part actually contains defects, but that defect actually is minor. It should be accepted, but this operator may misunderstand about the criteria. So he judged that this part is bad, okay. So that what you need to do is that actually you don't have to fix anything, right? Because that part is actually good, okay? It's actually acceptable, okay? So what will you do is that you should have to train this operator, okay, again about the standards, so that in the future this inspector will not make this kind of mistake again. Okay, do you get that?
ครับผม
Okay. And okay, so the effects of false alarm is that you have to waste time, okay, to reinvestigate or reinspect the parts, okay, investigate the problem, and then, okay, it would be good so that you will have lesson learned, okay, so that in the future you will prevent this type of error or false alarm, okay, in the future, okay. But you have to waste the time to reinspection, okay. And if you can prevent false alarm, that would be better, okay. So that's why they have to quantify the percentage of false alarm so that they will know whether they should train inspectors more about this, okay. And now let's take a look at how do we calculate the percentage of false alarm. That is indicator, this indicator, okay. On the lower side, we will compare with the number of opportunities for false alarm, okay. The opportunity for false alarm means the false alarm can happen when the actual quality of the part is good, okay. So that's mean, okay, the opportunity will be the number of parts that are good, okay, number of good parts multiplied by the number of times that they do repeatability of replication, okay. And the upper side will be percent IFA. The upper side will be the number of times that they design that the result is NG, okay. The number of NG compare with the number of G, okay. The number of G, and the number of G is the number of parts which are G, and multiplied by the number of replications to find out the opportunities for design the opportunity of good parts. Okay, for example, let's take a look at this. Okay, for example, operator 2. Okay. Operator 2, okay. Note that false alarm is tells that NG, given that the actual result is G. So it applies, okay, for why I can't erase it. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, it applies only the case when the parts are G, which is this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so percent IFA for operator 3, okay, is the total opportunities for making G result is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 part, and there are 2 opportunities, right? 2 opportunity for each part, so you have to multiply by 2. Okay, and then out of those G parts, you will count the numbers of times that you tell correctly, or that operator tells correctly, which is tell NG instead of G. Okay, so this one is correct. Okay, and then you don't have to take a look at this. Okay, and then you take a look at G part. This is correct. This is not correct, so you count 1. This is not correct again, you count 2. This is correct, and this is not correct, 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 out of 12. Okay, so it's 1 over 4, which is 20%, right? Okay, do you follow me? And it's okay, just a second. I've lost the file before because there's an error. Okay, let's fill in %FA. Okay, %FA for operator 2, right? What? Okay, I've done operator 2, right? So as 3 is 20%, 20% here. Okay, and then you have to compare it with the criteria for FA. Okay, 20% is greater than 10%, right? So the conclusion will be unacceptable. Okay, and now you can do the same thing for inspector 1 and 3. Okay. Okay, now let's do that by yourself. Okay, let's start with operator 1 first.
อาจารย์ค่ะ
ค่ะ
20%หรือ25ค่ะ
Other 25. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 1/4 is 25. Good, thank you. Okay, unacceptable, right? Okay, let's do that by yourself, and then I'll go ask somebody to help me answer this. Okay, if you finish with inspector 1, you can move to inspector 3. Okay, I think that should be enough time for operator 1. Okay, Norapatka. Okay, can you find percent IFA for inspector 1?
This is 42%.
42%. Okay, come from. Sorry, cannot delete it. Okay. So out of how many opportunities?
Out of 12.
12 come from 6.
6
Okay,
times 2.
multiplied by 2, right? Okay, because G, okay, we got 6G. Okay, that's correct. Okay, and the upper part will be
5.
5, like this, right? 1, okay, 2, right? 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's right. Okay, 5 out of 12, which is how many percentage?
42%.
42, okay. And your conclusion will be?
Unacceptable.
Okay, good. Number 3. Is anybody has done with that? Number 3, right? Okay. Okay, let's do that together. Okay, 1, 2, right? 3, 4. Is that right? Which is not correct. So okay, 4 out of 12, which is? Four out of 12, right? 33%, right? So what is the conclusion? So Pichaka, what would be the conclusion?
unacceptable ค่ะ
Good, because okay, it's greater than 10%. Okay. Okay, now we move to the last indicator, which is percent I miss. Okay, so now you can guess. Okay, if we have false alarm, okay, we will have another types of error, which is called miss. Okay, so miss mean okay, the actual quality is bad, NG, but that inspector tells that it's good. Okay, so that means he or she designed that is good, but actually it's bad parts. Okay, so you would do the same thing, okay, for miss. Like for example, okay, so now you have to take a look at the NG part, okay, the NG part. And there are 4 NG parts, right? So there will be 8 opportunities for telling NG, okay? So this will be sorry, why can't I write it down? So it will be the number of opportunity for miss, which is the number of parts, the number of NG parts times the number of replication. Okay, and the upper side is the number of misses, which is the number that you say or he say good. Okay. Okay, so the upper part will be, in this case, will be 4 parts that are NG, right? So percent I missed, for example, for operator 3 will be 4 parts times 2. And then you start to count the opportunity that he or the times that he say wrongly, which is he say G instead of NG. And you see that, okay, correct. And then you move to NG here, okay. So they are all correct. So 8 out of 8 would, percent miss, so no miss at all, right? So this is 0%, okay, for operator 3. So operator 3% miss is 0. Can press percentage here and then 0%, so it's certain that it will be acceptable. Okay. Now let's do that by yourself for operator 1. Okay, take 1 minute to do that for operator 1 and 2. Okay, so a trick, you can write down, okay, the area that you will consider. So that is the parts that are NG, which are these 4 parts. Okay, so you take a look at this only in this area. Okay, so inspector 1 is easy, right? And how about inspector 2? Okay, same thing. Okay, I think that should be enough. Okay, come back to Superwit. Superwit, so how many percentage for I miss of inspector number 1? Superwit, are you there?
0 ครับ
That's good. Okay, so within the red area, right? They should tell NG, and they tell NG all the time, so there's no error at all. So 0% I miss for inspector 1. How about inspector 2? Superwit, huh?
0 to
Okay, good. Okay, so all acceptable, right?
Yes.
Okay. And okay, let me, if I change, okay, the result, okay, from NG, okay, this one to G. So what will be the percent I miss in this case? Okay, so probably try one more time then. Percent I miss for operator 1. Okay, if I change the result, okay, do you see the result that I changed here from NG to G? So what will be the percent I miss? So the lower part will be, so the lower part will be
12.5
okay, 12.5 come from
lower 8
lower 8. Okay, 8 is 4 parts times 2, right? Okay, and the upper part?
upper 1
Upper 1, because there's one time that they tell incorrectly, right? Tell G instead of NG. So 1/8 is 12.5%. Okay, and if that is the case, do you accept this much percentage of miss? Supervisor คะช่วยอีก one more question.
no ครับ no
No, because I miss is 12, okay, 0.5%, which is greater than 5%, right? So you should say unacceptable, okay? So that means if you have only 8 opportunities to make decision, right? So you have no, okay, you cannot tell wrongly at all, okay? Because if you say wrongly just one time over 8 opportunities, it will be 12%, which is greater than 5%. So with this much, okay, with this many parts, okay, like 4 parts that are defective, okay, you should tells correctly all the time to pass with this criteria. Okay. Okay, so now we are done with what we call within appraiser. Okay, come back to this one. Okay, within appraiser analysis means that we will appraise for each operator separately, okay, in terms of the accuracy, repeatability, and then for error, okay, we have to looking for like the percentage of false alarm error and also missed error, okay, for each operator. Okay, and then okay, if we discuss a little bit, okay, could you tell, because I missed this number, could you please tell this number for me again? Like 70% here, right? Okay. พี่มายังอยู่ไหมคะหรือน้องๆก็ได้น้องๆช่วยบอกอาจารย์หน่อยนะ
ค่ะอาจารย์
ตรงนี้เป็นอะไรคะเปอร์เซ็นต์ตรงเนี้ย
70ครับ
เท่าไหร่นะคะ again
70ครับ
okay thank you how about for inspector 3
8%.
huh 80 is that right ค่ะcan
100%
anybody tell ค่ะ
100% ครับ
100% here
no instead of 80ครับ
oh okay 100 here right okay
ใช่ครับ
ค่ะ thank you how about accuracy
60ครับ the first one แล้วก็70ครับ AD ครับ
80 okay so we will say unacceptable here right okay and 100% acceptable okay crazy so this is marginally acceptable marginally acceptable about percent OE นภกรคะช่วยบอกอาจารย์หน่อยนะ percent OE for inspector 1
75 85 80ครับ
okay thank you okay and the results
unacceptable แล้วก็ marginally acceptable 2 อันนะครับ
okay is that right okay so now we've got this conclusion so far okay so let me ask you okay about to discuss about the results okay so for inspector number 1 okay so do you think you should accept his performance and if not okay what should you do to improve his performance or like where or which indicators that you should improve for inspector 1 okay let's have 1 minute okay for you to think about this okay and then I will ask for some opinion from you Okay, but actually it's 10:40, so I think we should have a break. Okay, so take a break first and then come back. Okay, and then we will talk about the discussion, okay, of where and how to improve the performance of each operator. Okay, so let's come back at 10:55. Okay, 15 minutes break. Okay, see you then. Okay, now let's come back. Okay. Okay, so you hear me, right?
ได้ยินครับ
Okay, thank you. So okay, so before the break, okay, we have this result so far. So now let's discuss about the results. Okay, so okay, if we talked about each operator, so if you take a look at inspector number 1, okay. Okay, so I'll give you this example first, and then you will try to do this for operator 2 and 3. Okay, so for inspector 1, look at percent repeatability is unacceptable, and also accuracy is unacceptable. So that means he has to improve both accuracy and repeatability, right? And if we're concerned about the accuracy, okay, then we will see that he has problem, okay, with false alarm, okay, but not with myths, okay. That means he tends to false alarm mean reject good part, right? That means he tends to reject good part, okay, but myth is acceptable. That means he do not pass bad part out, right? Okay. So if we want to improve his performance, we have to improve in terms of reduce the false alarm probability. Okay, and false alarm means, okay, reject good part. Okay, so we have to find out the reason, okay, why this this inspector made false alarm error. Okay, and one reason can be, for example, it should be good parts, or it may contain like minor defects, small defects, okay, but that operator tells that this defect is unacceptable. So the reason is that maybe he misunderstands about the criteria for judge whether this should be defect or non-defect, okay. So that's one thing that we can do, is that we have to train that operator, but before training we have to make sure that the standards, okay, or the training materials is good enough, okay, for the inspectors to understand, okay. So if the standard is not clear, okay, or sometimes the standard has not been set up at all, okay, so we have to set up the standards. Or if the standards exist but it's not clear, so we have to make clear standards. For example, showing pictures, okay, of different levels of defects, and then train the operators that this, okay, this characteristic, okay, of defects is acceptable, this or not, okay. Or we have to write down clear definition of defects, okay. And we can use pictures, we can use like any medias, okay, any kind, okay, of materials that we can help the inspector to be clear about the standards. Okay, and next, if our standard is clear enough, is good enough, so we can use that standard to train the inspectors, right? And then we have to make sure, or we have to do a test to make sure that the operator or the inspectors can do the inspection with satisfied accuracy and repeatability. Okay. Okay. Okay, and how about, okay, and about the repeatability, okay, repeatability doesn't concern with accuracy, doesn't concern with the correct result, but it means that, okay, if okay, inspector number 1 repeatability is 70%, which is unacceptable. Okay, that's mean he inspects, okay, the same part 2 times. Okay, they tend to give different results, like too many times. Okay, so the reason for this, okay, so could you please think about this? Okay, anyone can think about this. What can be the reason for making inconsistent results? Okay, why they inspect the same part, okay, 2 different times, and they give different results? What can be the reason for this? Okay, anybody want to try? Chanin Long, try ไหมคะ? Think about yourself. Okay, if you have to inspect a part, okay, 2 times, but 2 different times. Okay, so if in the second time you do not know that this part, okay, comes to you again, okay, so you will not have bias. Okay, you do not do inspection consecutively. Okay, you would do it, okay, different, like far apart, like maybe like half an hour, you come back and inspect that part again, and you do not know that this part you used to inspect it before. Okay, but why, okay, can you tell different results? What do you think is the reason for this? Chanin ลองนึกดูสิคะ
no idea เลยครับ
no idea เลยเหรอโอเคเอาลองคนอื่นไปดูบ้าง Paris เป็นไง Paris, do you have any idea?
no เหมือนกันครับ
no เลยเหรอ คิดหรือยังก่อน no นี่โอเคนะภากรคิดต่อ
การบ้ายอีกนิดได้ไหมครับ
ใบอีกนิดเหรอสมมุตินะ okay, think about, okay, when you tell, okay, the point of the difficulty of this problem is that, okay, suppose G, okay, if it means nothing happened at all, okay, and if NG mean like a small, large, okay, thick, okay, if it exists, you will call it NG. If no, okay, if it no defect appear, you say G. So this is very easy to distinguish between G and NG part, right? But the difficulty is that, okay, if there is a defect but is small, okay, you accept it. So you will say actually this one should be G, okay? But okay, think about, okay, if you're the same person, okay, and the decision is subjective, is by eye, okay, it's by eye, okay. So this time, if you take a look at this, okay, the same part, okay, same defects. This is the first time, this is the second time, okay, and actually the correct result is G, okay. So the first time you say you look at this part, okay, and you feel that it's pretty small, okay, I'm not so sure that it should pass or not, but seems that it is small, okay, so let's guess, I guess this time that is G, okay, and then okay, you move to inspect other parts, and okay, and then you come back to inspect this part again, okay, and this time, okay, you are hesitant, okay, you are not sure again whether to judge is G or NG, but this time, okay, okay, by chance that you said okay, let's let's design that is NG. Okay, is it possible? Okay, so the point is that that person is not so sure, okay, about the standards, so sure about whether this one, okay, this defect should pass or do not pass, because he are not so sure or are not so clear about the standards, or the standard is clear but he is not well trained, okay, to judge that this should be a defective or not. Okay, do you follow me? So the reason for inconsistent results, okay, usually come from, okay, that person are not sure or are not clear or are not well trained about how to design, okay. He's not so precise about his decision, okay. So to correct about this, so first you have to set up clear standard, okay. Next, you have to use that standard to have the inspectors practice, okay, a lot, okay, do inspection a lot, practice a lot, and then you have to monitor the performance, okay. If he or she still do a lot of error, so you have to train them more and more, okay, and then point out why, okay, they give, okay, incorrect results, okay, and have them to be very clear about the standards and have consistent results, okay. Consistent results come from a lot of practice, okay, and also first have to be clear about the standard first. Okay, do you get that?เมื่อกี้จันถามใครนะพาลิตปะเนี่ยพวกเราdo you follow what I'm saying? ไม่มีเสียงตอบ I'm not sure if you understand it or not. Okay. Hope so. Okay. So now let's move, okay, to the next two indicators. Okay. So far we have seen, okay, the indicator for each appraiser. Okay. But now, okay, we will take a look at the indicator between appraiser. Between here means that, okay, we do not, okay, pay attention to each inspector anymore, but we consider overall performance, okay, the consistency among different operators instead, okay, and the accuracy overall, okay, for all operators, okay. So there are two indicators. The first one is about repeatability, and the second one is about accuracy. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, it's pretty easy. Okay, like in this example. Okay, if you have, okay, if we talk about the repeatability, okay, among all operators, so out of 10 parts, okay, if you look at part number 1 across this row, right, and then you will see that, okay, if the results are consistent among 3 operators, so the result should be all G, right? That means within the same inspector, the results are consistent, and also the results are consistent between inspectors, okay? If they are all G, so you will count that the first part, okay, the repeatability is okay. But in this case, okay, the second time of inspector 1 is not consistent with other results, so you cannot count this part as repeatability is okay. Okay. Part number 2, all G. Okay, so past. Part number 3. Okay, all NG. So repeatability is okay. 4, okay. 5 is not okay because G and NG, right? Different results. Okay. 6 do not pass because G and NG here. Okay, 7 pass, 8 pass, 9 and no 10. So then you start to count the number of parts that have consistent results among all operators. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the percent repeatability across all operator is 60%. Okay, and then this indicator is called percent screen effective score. Okay, so actually instead of we call that repeatability, we will call that as reproducibility. So reproducibility means repeatability among different operators or among different inspectors. Okay, so actually it's the same thing, the same meaning as repeatability, but it's just specific word for repeatability among different operators. Okay, so you can say percent reproducibility is 60% in this case. Okay, and okay, if we want to talk about the percent accuracy, okay, so you know that before it can be accurate, it has to be consistent first, right? So that means out of 6 parts that are consistent, if okay is if they are correct, okay, that's mean accuracy is okay. So you take a look at the part which is okay, which is consistent, which is this. Okay, this 6 parts, right? The 6 parts. Okay, 6 parts here, and then you start to compare. Okay, part number 2 all G and result is correct. You count 1. Part number 3 all NG and the result, the true result is NG, so pass in terms of accuracy. Part number 4, okay, correct also. Part number 7, okay, all G and then correct. Part number 7, all G, all NG. Part number 9, okay, in this case, they're all correct. So percent accuracy is 100%. But okay, I just give you okay another example. Okay, if part number 2 are all G and the correct result is NG, for example, NG. So reproducibility is okay, right? But it's not correct. So your percent accuracy will be dropped. Okay, so you cannot count this part as accurate. Okay, did you get that? In this case, percent accuracy is 100%. Okay, and then you can fill it. Okay, percent repeatability is 60%, accuracy is 100. So conclusion is that acceptable here, right? And unacceptable in terms of repeatability. Oh, okay, I'm sorry about this. Let me check. Okay, so in terms of accuracy, okay, I shouldn't count. Let me see. Okay, let me go back to check about sorry about this. Okay, accuracy. Okay, we have to compare with the total number of parts inspected. Okay, and then we count the number of the result, the parts that result are the same, correct? I'm sorry about that. So actually you have to compare. Okay, 10 total number of parts inspected is 10 and 6 parts that are consistent and also correct. Okay, so this percentage is 60%, sorry, not 100%. Okay, but if there are parts that out of 6 parts that are consistent, but only 5 parts that are correct, so percent accuracy should be 5 out of 10. Okay, but in this case, it's 60%. So this is 60%, and then it should be unacceptable. Okay. You follow that? If you have any question, okay, you do not follow, please, okay, you can ask me anytime. Now, okay, when we obtain all numbers, all indicators, okay, then we should do two things, okay? But actually, question number 2, okay, actually you have to do this at the beginning, actually. Okay, in question number 2, I said, please criticize about the sample size, whether they are enough. Sample size here means, okay, the number of parts that you collect to do the test, okay, and the number of replication that you do, okay. So let's come back to this file, okay. We have a table of sample size here, okay. So this table tells you that, for example, if you have 3 operators which fall into this case, right? This table will tell you that how many parts that you need to collect, or what many parts that you should have each inspector to do the test, okay, to inspect in the test. Like in this case, we have 10 parts, right? We have each inspector to inspect 10 parts, okay, for the test, okay? And we have each inspector to inspect it twice, okay, twice. So the minimum number of repeatability means the number of times that you have each inspector to do the inspection on each part, okay? So if you have 3 operator, okay, carefully listening to this, okay, and then I will ask you a question, okay? From this table, we have, okay, in this case, we have 3 operator, right? 3 inspector, okay? And which belong, okay, which fall into this row, right? That's mean we need 12 parts, okay? We need each inspector to inspect 12 parts. And for each part, we need them to inspect 3 times, okay, 3 times. So, but, okay, the data set that we have so far, okay, we do the test based on 10 parts and twice, okay, number of replication is 2 times. So may I ask you this question, okay, is this sample size is enough? Sample size in terms of the number of parts and also the number of replication, okay, is the number of parts is enough, and is the number of replication is enough in this case? Okay, anyone want to answer this question? I expect you to answer this question sometimes, okay, I don't have to, okay, randomize you all the time. Can anybody answer this question? It's
Not
easy
enough.
one, right? Huh?
Not enough ครับ
Not enough. Okay, so about number of parts, what do you think?
It should be increased to 12.
Okay, good. Okay, now we have 10, right? But in this table says that we need 12. Okay, so we should do more, okay, for 2 parts, right? And then combine it with this, the result from 10 parts. Okay, we need 2 more parts to inspect. Good. And how about the number of replication or number of repeatability in this case? Okay. Okay. Anyone can help? Is it enough?
We should do it one more time ครับ
Sorry, again, please.
We should do it one more time ครับ
Okay, very good. Because in this table it said we require 3 times, right? But what we have is only 2 times. Okay, so we have to have each inspector inspect the same 10 parts, okay, for one more time. Okay, and we also need to do more inspection for another 2 parts, right? 3 times. Okay, that is the answer for question number 2. Okay, and the last question, which is the really important part. Okay, question number 3 is that please summarize about the performance of this inspection system and suggest where and how to improve it. Okay, so where mean which indicator, okay, that we should improve. For example, okay, overall first we have problem with both repeatability and accuracy, right? Okay, so we have to find out, okay, the problem is for all operators or for some operators. Okay, and if we take a look at each operator in terms of accuracy, which is percent OE, right? And then we will say that the accuracy of inspector 1, okay, is unacceptable, where it's marginally acceptable for inspector 2 and 3. Okay, and then if we take a look about the kind of error, okay, that is unacceptable, and then we will see that all of them, okay, have problem with false alarm error, why they do not have problem with miss. That means, okay, they do not pass bad part out, okay, but they always, not really always, but they sometimes, okay, detect good parts at bad parts, okay, and then that's why we need to do reinspection, unnecessary reinspection. Okay, so if we want to improve, okay, we will say that we have to improve our inspectors in terms of false alarm error. Okay, and then you can say how do we improve it? Okay, by making clear standards, have a well training, okay, and then we have to monitor the performance of the training, okay, those kind of things. Okay, okay, that is, okay, the answer for question number 3. Okay, and then, okay, I have a homework, okay, another homework, okay, for you, okay, to practice about this again, okay, and I hope that, okay, most of you can, okay, understand this well, but okay, it would be good for you, okay, to write it down, okay, and especially for question number 3, okay, I suggest you, okay, the method, okay, for and the reason, okay, for errors like false alarm error and miss error. Okay, so I want you to rethink about this and try to expand your idea about, okay, what can be the reason for false alarm error, what can be the reason for miss, okay, error, okay, and different operators may have, based on this homework, it's possible that different operators have different problem. For example, inspector 1 may have problem with false alarm and no problem with miss, but the second inspector may have problem with miss but not false alarm. Okay, so if you have to correct, okay, or to improve this inspection system, you have to know the performance of each operator, and then you have to train them specific, okay, for each person, okay, to make them understand correctly about the standards. Okay, so please, okay, download this file, homework file, and then answer these 3 questions. Okay, first, I would like you to calculate all indicators, okay, again, and with this data set, and then criticize about the sample size. In this case, mean the number of parts, the number of replication, okay, as we have done before, and then summarize about the performance and suggest which indicator, okay, which performance that is poor and how to improve it, okay. In practice, how do you improve it? Okay. And you can find out, okay, additional knowledge, okay, from other sources to help you to answer question 3 better, okay. And please fill in your answer in this Excel file, okay. So I expect you to hand in only one file, which is this file, okay. So you can fill in question number 1, the numbers of all indicators in this, okay, cells, and then question number 2, okay, you can answer it in this box, okay, and also number 3, okay. So I assigned, okay, you, okay, this homework as a team, as a group, okay, work, okay. So, but I really expect each one of you, okay, to practice about the calculation by yourself and also answer question number 2 and 3 individually, okay. But I also expect you, for example, in your team, you have 2 or 3 people, right? Okay, among your team, after you get your answer, okay, you can pull your answer, okay, and then you can discuss with your friends, and then you can add, okay, interesting points from your group member, okay. You may not, okay, for each one of you, you may not think about that for like completely, right? But you can share your ideas among the team, and then you can summarize, okay, and get the best from your team, and then answer it in question number 3, okay. So I really suggest that, okay, in order for you to have knowledge about this, you have to practice individually, but you can have, okay, the power of the team to make your idea more complete, okay. So I really suggest that you discuss among your team, okay, and then you hand in only one work, okay, from your one team member, okay, by summarize, okay, all the ideas from the team members, okay, and then send me the best one, okay. Do you follow that? Okay, do you have any question with the homework? Okay.
อาจารย์ครับ
Huh?
ขอข้อ 3 อีกทีได้ไหมครับ
Okay. You mean what do I expect from you to answer about this question, right?
ตอนที่อาจารย์เฉลยรอบแรกอะครับ
Okay. Okay, roughly. Okay. Where to improve? That's mean you have to take a look at all indicators, okay, and find out which indicator that are unacceptable, okay. Unacceptable means you have to improve it, right? That is where you need to improve it. For example, overall, the repeatability and also accuracy are not acceptable, okay. And then you have to find where in this case mean which inspector and which indicator that you should improve. For example, inspector 1, okay, have problem with both repeatability and accuracy. And in terms of accuracy, they have problem with false alarm, okay, not miss, okay. So you say that where to improve, you will say for inspector 1, we have to improve about to reduce the percentage of the number of times that they do false alarm error. Okay, and we also have to improve the repeatability of inspector 1. This is where, okay? And also we have to take a look at inspector number 2, right? Okay, we should improve inspector number 2 or not. Okay, yes, repeatability, okay, doesn't pass, right? And also accuracy doesn't pass. So where to improve, we can say that we also have to improve inspector number 2 in terms of false alarm, okay, and also repeatability, okay. And for inspector number 3, we don't have to improve about repeatability, okay. So you can say, okay, where? So you will say that for inspector number 3, we should improve only false alarm error, okay, about the accuracy, okay, it's only marginally acceptable. Okay, if it's a little bit less than 80%, it will be unacceptable, right? Okay, it's only marginally marginally acceptable because the percentage of false alarm is too much. Okay, so where to improve can be inspector 3 in terms of false alarm, okay, but not repeatability. Okay, do you get that? So this is where, okay, and how, okay, so how you can make conclusion that for all operator, they have problem with false alarm, right? And for inspector number 1 and 2, they also have problem with repeatability, right? Okay, so now you have to find out, okay, the reason for false alarm and also the reason for repeatability, okay? And when you know that reason, you can find out the way to prevent it, okay, to prevent that causes of error. For example, false alarm may caused by, okay, they misunderstand about the standards, okay, that's this defect should be counted as good, but they think that this defect should be counted as bad, okay? So that means one reason can be they missed, okay, all of them, inspector 1, 2, and 3 in this case, they all misunderstand about, the standard to judge, okay, good and bad parts, okay, and then they tend to be more serious, okay, about the defects. That's why they always say that this is defective, but actually it's not, okay. So one reason maybe they misunderstand about the criteria, okay. So if you know this reason, okay, this cause, so you can improve it, okay, by improve the standards, okay. For example, you can make the standard to be better, clearer in this case, like you can add more picture, okay, of the standards, or you can, for example, if for some defects, it can be replaced, okay, by a manual inspection. You can use, for example, some equipment to detect defect, okay. It may be more, okay, precise or more accurate, okay. So you can think about, okay, for example, misunderstand the criteria. The way to solve this will be make the criteria, okay, to be clearer, okay, and or you can use the machine or equipment to do inspection instead of manual inspection, okay. You can also, okay, and once you get good standard, okay, you have to train your operator, okay, very well, okay, and then have them have enough time to practice to inspect based on the new criteria, okay, or the new, what we call the new standard, okay. And then you have to follow up, okay, you have to do this test, this what we call an attribute agreement analysis, okay, again, to make sure that now the numbers of these indicators is acceptable. Okay, that is all that you need to do. Okay, but I want you, for example, you can really recommend, okay, you can search in the internet of, okay, you can say how to how to set up, okay, good standards for visual inspection, for example, okay, and then you may get, okay, more interesting ideas about how to make good standards, okay. And I really recommend that you have to expand your knowledge about this, okay. I will not tell you in like a lot of details because I really encourage you to find out, okay, examples, okay, knowledge, okay, by yourself, okay, you can practice yourself learning, okay, but the concept is that you have to make good standards for everyone to understand the criteria for judge defective and non-defective very clearly, okay. You can use pictures, okay, you can use clear definition, okay, of detecting defects, okay. You can use some equipment to help, okay, those kind of things. And also there are many more examples, okay. So the score of this homework, okay, is like depends on your, okay, effort, okay, to think about question number 3, okay. So question number 3 may take about 70% of the score in this homework, okay, because for the numbers here, it's very easy for you to get, right? But what you have to learn is question number 3, okay. So please find out, okay, this information more by yourself, okay. Okay, so do I answer the question? Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, do I answer your question?
ครับผม
Okay, ค่ะ and then okay, we can discuss more next time. Okay. Okay, anybody else? Do you have any more questions regarding this homework? Okay, so if no, we still have 20 minutes left. Okay, but because we have another 2 times, okay, for doing for MSA for variable data, okay, maybe I want to spend those 20 minutes to take a lecture, a little bit more lecture about MSA for variable data, and then we will make sure that in the next 2 classes we have enough time to do workshop and also to have review question about the final exam. Is that okay for you to stay here until noon? Okay. I haven't. Let me see. พี่ไมค์คะไมค์จ๊ะ
ค่ะ
Mike, could you please help post the PowerPoint slide for MSA variable data? I think you have that file. I don't have it right now. Okay. The same as QI class, that is okay.
ค่ะอาจารย์
ค่ะไมค์ okay เดี๋ยวพี่ไมค์ okay we'll post the handouts in a few minutes, okay, and but now you can take a look at my slide, okay. Okay, so previously we have learned about how do we address the inspection system, and the result will be G and NG, right? But now if you have variable data, like you measure the thickness of the part, the height of the parts, and the numbers come in forms of the numbers. Okay, let me show you the data file first for variable data. Okay, and we also want to express in terms of the accuracy and the precision of the measurement also. Okay. Okay, like in this example, it's okay. So yeah, your data is let me see. The diameter of the parts. Okay, and you have, for example, 3 operators to express, and then you want to judge about the precision of each operator. Okay, like the repeatability of each operator. Operator mean can be inspector. You can call them inspector or measurer. Measurer is better. Okay, and then you will have, for example, operator number 1 measure, in this case 20 parts. Okay, 2 times. Okay, and you have the same thing for operator through 2 and 3, right? And then you want to express the consistency among the results or the measurements among between 2 times. That is called, we want to express about the repeatability of this operator. Okay, and another indicator is called reproducibility. Okay, reproducibility means the consistency among different operators. Okay, for example, if all the numbers are 20 here, 20 here, that is repeatable, right? And 20, 20, 20, 20 for the first row. Okay, so if for part number 1, all operators give the same measurement, okay, so we will say that reproducibility, okay, is good. Okay, but in this case we have 20 parts. Okay, to calculate, for example, to calculate the indicator to tell us about the performance in terms of reproducibility. Okay, we will not do the same thing, okay, as what we have done for the attribute data, like we did in this class. Okay, we will calculate in different way. Okay, and then you will see, okay, how do we quantify, okay, about the reproducibility and also repeatability of the measurement system of variable data. Okay, it will use different approach from what we have seen so far. Okay, we will not count the number of parts that reproducibility passed compared with the total number of parts anymore. We will not do that approach. We will do another approach. Okay, I will tell you in the next class. Okay, but in this class, I just want you to have a big picture of indicators about the accuracy and the precision of the measurement system. Okay, so in terms of the precision, we will concern about repeatability and reproducibility. Okay, but if you take a look in terms in this table, okay, we do not consider the actual results, okay, in this table. Okay, so in this table, we just concerned about the precision. Precision means, okay, give consistent results. Okay, so we compare the consistency of result among each operator and across operators. Okay, that is called repeatability and reproducibility accordingly. Okay, and I would like to show you this picture for you to understand the performance that we care. Okay, suppose the target, okay, the target here is the correct value of the part. Suppose we take one part, okay, and the correct number for that part is 10.0 centimeters, for example. which is the target, which is shown by the target here. Okay, and then if we measure this part, this one part, right, several times, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, in this case, suppose we measure it 8 times. Okay, 8 times. Okay, what do we expect is that if all the time, suppose your target is here, right? If all the time, okay, you can have 10.0, 10.0 for all the time, for all 8 times, right? That means you're perfect, right? You're perfect in terms of the precision. Precision means the difference among the numbers, okay, that you repeat your measurements. Okay, if those numbers are all the same, for example, you do that 8 times. And this is your observation, or what we call measurements. Okay, measurement. And suppose you get 10.1, 10.1 all the time. Okay, so that means there's no variation at all, right, among your repeated measurements. So that means your precision is perfect. Okay, but if I ask you about the accuracy, accuracy means correctness of the answer. You will say that on average, okay, you observe that is 10.1, right? But if the actual value is 10.0, okay, that means you have the difference or the bias of 0.1 centimeter. You get that? So your accuracy is not perfect, right? Because you have made wrong measurements. Okay. So at this point, I want you to learn about 2 things which are different: accuracy and precision. So precision means we consider about the variation of the measurements, but we do not care about the accuracy. Okay, but if it's precise and it also accurate, that is the best thing that we would like. That is the performance in picture A. In picture A, on average, okay, on average, you see the blue points, right? On average of those blue points is move toward the target, okay? So the accuracy is good, okay? Accuracy is high, and precision is high also compared to picture B, right? Picture B, so on average, picture B is on target or is accurate also, right? But there is high variation, right, compared to this picture, right? So that means in picture number B, the precision is low. Okay, thus picture number C, the variation is small. Okay, but it's different a lot, okay, from the actual value. So the accuracy is low, but the precision is high. Okay, and the last picture number D, as you see here, okay, you can judge right away, right? But it always, okay, measure, suppose this is 10. This is, off target. The average is about this number, right? So it's not accurate. So the accuracy is low and also variation is high. Okay, that means precision is low. Okay, so this is the worst, right? This is the best. Okay, and we would like this thing, both accurate and both precise. Okay, do you get that? And next, okay, so if I summarize what is very important, okay, for a measurement system, okay, we need both accuracy and precision. Okay, and in terms of the precision that we have talked before, okay, number one, we need repeatability. That means consistency within the results within different times of the same inspector. And the second one is reproducibility, is the consistency among, okay, different operator. This is variation or different within each operator. Okay, different when they do a measurement different times. Okay, and for accuracy, okay, accuracy, we will measure it in terms of the bias. So bias is an average of the measurements, okay, of that operators, and then subtract by the true value. Or the true value, we can call it, okay, different names. We can say master value, okay, or reference value, which means the value that we can refer to as a correct value. Okay, we can call it master value also. Okay, and then we will design. Okay, we have to quantify the numbers of the bias, and then we have to decide whether we're gonna accept it or not. Okay, to decide whether to accept or not, we have to compare. Okay, I'll give you the brief idea about the bias first. Okay, so we have to compare the actual amount of bias with process variation. Okay, and so it will come in form of the percentage, right? Okay, and if this percentage, for example, is greater than 10%, we will unaccept it. Okay, so we will learn about why we have to compare it with the process variation and how do we obtain the process variation. Okay, we will learn it in the next class. Okay, let me check the time. Okay, another 5 minutes. Okay, we're gonna stop. Okay, so first we will talk about the bias, and then, okay, if we plot the bias over time. Okay, for example, if we appraise the bias every week, okay, so the first week bias will be this much, the second week bias will be this much, for example. So what we expect is that the bias should be stable over time. So if the bias is not stable, it's not good, because if the bias is like this, but in the future it's increasing, so we have more bias. We do not want this, right? So if bias is not stable, it's not a good thing. So we have to monitor the stability of the bias. And the tools that we use is the control charts that we have learned before. Okay, we can apply control chart to check the stability of the bias. Okay. And bias, okay, as I mentioned before, okay, first we have to compare it with the process variation. And if it's less than 10%, that is okay. Okay, so that means suppose your measurement system has a bias of 2%. Okay, so if it's still at 2%, you say that you can accept it. Okay, and if it's stable at 2%, so you don't have to worry about this. You can proceed. You can do measurement with this measurement system. Okay, but if your bias, okay, is out of control, that time you know that you have to fix this problem to find out the cause of bias and then solve it. Okay. So that means that sometimes you need to check the stability of the bias. And the third thing that we can do about accuracy is that sometimes you want to quantify whether the bias is changing over what we call operating range of the measurements. For example, if you have a vernier, remember vernier is an equipment like this that you use to measure, for example, the parts, okay, the length of the parts, okay, and the operating range here, okay, it can measure the parts which is very small, like from 1 millimeters, okay, to, for example, 10 centimeters, okay. So it can measure things which is bigger, right? Thing which is bigger, okay. So this is called, okay, like operating range, okay. It's called the range or a measurement range. And then you want to do things like this. If you collect, okay, or you quantify the bias of the parts of different size. Okay. Let me take a look. Okay, like this. Okay. Just a second. Okay. For example, you have the part of size 10 to 20 and to the big part, which is 60. And then you measure each part different times, like 1, 2, 3, suppose 5 times. You have 5 measurements here, okay? And then if you take an average, which is the red dot here, and then you plot, okay, the bias over reference values, okay? And then you see that the bias tend to increase, right? Tend to increase when you increase the reference value. That means when you measure a bigger part, the bias tend to be bigger also. Okay, and then this is called, that is the linearity relationship between bias and reference value. Okay, and you do not want this because for the part which is big, for example, 50, you get a lot of bias. That is not good, okay? So we want to appraise whether the bias change over the reference value or not, okay? And then we will learn about this, okay, and how to deal with this, okay, in the next class, okay? So I think that is all for today. So today I would like you to have a brief idea, okay, of what is the indicator for the performance of the measurement system, okay. So in the next 2 classes, okay, we will talk about the accuracy appraisal and also the precision analysis, okay. So you can take a look at the handout before the class, okay? And then we will do workshop, okay, based on this 5 things, okay, in the next 2 classes. Okay, so we're running out of time. Okay, so do you have any question about the introduction that I give you so far? So, okay, so if there's no question, okay, don't forget to hand in the homework. Okay, the due date พี่ไมค์ช่วยใส่ due date หน่อยนะคะ due date ปกติเราเซต เห็นนะอาจารย์ให้1 week from now อะนะคะปกติเราส่งกันวันไหนนะมาย
วันอาทิตย์ก็ได้ค่ะอาจารย์
โอเคส่งกันภายในคืนวันอาทิตย์นะคะแล้วเดี๋ยวนะคะเดี๋ยวเช้าวันจันทร์นะคะ before class โอเคเดี๋ยวก็อาจารย์จะมาดูสักนิดหนึ่งว่าพวกเรา discuss question 3มายังไงกันบ้างนะคะแล้วก็เผื่อจะมาแชร์กับกลุ่มเพื่อนๆนะคะแล้วก็ในคลาสหน้าเดี๋ยวเราก็จะเรียนเกี่ยวกับเรื่องพวกนะ measurement system สำหรับ variable data กันต่อนะคะโอเคค่ะถ้าอย่างนั้นมีใครมีคำถามอะไรไหมคะโอเคถ้าไม่มีก็เดี๋ยวเจอกันคราวหน้านะคะคราวหน้าก็คือจันทร์หน้านะคะโอเคสวัสดีค่ะ